Welcome everyone to Crumple Dye at NorVA. We know everybody's stuck at home and having a kind of a boring old time, so we thought we'd add a little bit of excitement to your lives and a little bit of color by having a crumple dye. So first of all, we need to talk about what you need to do. You're going to be working with fabric that's pre-treated, so it's irritating to your skin. It's mixed with washing soda or soda ash, and it can be irritating to your eyes and skin. So when you're using it, wear your gloves. Don't forget. The literature in your package that we have for you will explain all the important things to do with the chemicals that you'll be working with, because the dyes are a chemical as well. We want to recommend that you wear a good dust mask, so we will be providing these in the kit. We will suggest that they use that when you're doing the dyes or when you're mixing the dyes. You want to do that in a well-ventilated room and make sure that there aren't any little children around. You want to be careful. This is for adults or kids who are well supervised. So what I'm going to do first is show you some samples of some crumple dyes that people have done here before. Now here's one that is a beautiful sample. It's made of scarlet, red, and navy. Here's another one that also has some wax resist on it. We won't be doing that because we'll be sending this home with you. This one is done with scarlet, golden yellow, and black. So you'll see there's quite a bit of difference in the colors that you get. So the contents of the kit again are here. You get a jar with the lid. All the contents will fit in this jar. Here's the material. It's a big piece of 100% cotton. There'll be a spoon for mixing your dyes, 3 little pre-measured styrofoam cups, some gloves, 3 packets of dye. You'll be able to choose your color from the list of colors that we will have. You have your dust mask and the instructions. So the first thing we're going to do then is look at the crumple part. So here's your material. So what you're going to be doing with it is sticking it in the jar. So you can crumple it, you can fold it, you can twist it, you can add elastics, you can just use your imagination. You could even stitch it if you want. Then you're going to put your fabric in the jar. Stuff it in. There we go. So now, after you have the fabric in the jar, we're going to mix your dyes. So we'll move these beautiful pieces out of the way so they don't get ruined. So the first thing that you do is, when you're mixing the dyes, is add a little bit of water into the bottom of your cup. So you're going to add in one of the packages. Usually, this is the golden. You're going to add it in. Oops, I'm sorry, wait a minute. I've screwed up already. You've got to put your dust mask on, so don't forget that. There we go. Now you're safe, and we should all be used to doing this. All right, so now the second thing you want to do is probably put your rubber gloves on, because if you get the dye mix on your hand, you're going to have colored fingers for a few days. So gently dump the dye into the water, just a little bit in the bottom. Take your spoon and stir the dye until it's all completely dissolved in the water. So you keep stirring gently for a few minutes until your dye is completely mixed. Don't be impatient. It will mix eventually. And once you've mixed it into a little paste and it's kind of smooth, you're going to add half a cup of water. There you go. So again, stirring your dye until it is all mixed completely into the water. You might get a little bit on the edge there. Okay. Okay, there you have dye number 1. Okay, now we have dye number 2 coming up. Packet number 2, you're going to add your dye in here, stir. You will need some clean water to clean your spoon off so that you're not mixing the dyes yet. Okay, so you're stirring this, adding another half a cup of water. There you go. Stir it again. I've taken the liberty of mixing this a little bit before. Okay, there we go. And dye number 3. Again, mixing. It's already in there. It's had a little bit of time to dissolve. I'm going to add another half a cup of water and stir. So now we have 3 dyes that are all dissolved beautifully and ready to pour into your mug here, your container. So you push. There's a couple of ways you can do that. If you want, you can put a little bit of dye in the bottom, and we'll do that. You start with your lightest dye, and we'll pour a little bit of that in the bottom. And then we'll twist this one, send it in, stuff it in, and pour the rest of the dye down one side. Okay, then we're going to take one of the other dyes, which are both about the same color. The fuchsia is a little bit lighter than the scarlet, so we'll pour the fuchsia in this side. There, isn't that beautiful? Now we'll take the third dye and pour it down the other side. Okay, so now we're going to take our little spoon and hope it doesn't break and just push it down. And if there's some fabric showing above the level of the water, you can pour a little bit more water in just to make sure that the fabric is covered. So after that part is completed, you can take your gloves off, set your dye aside, and leave it for half an hour. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a nice little break, cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Now we're going to get started again. You've left your piece of material in the dye for 30 minutes-ish. It's pretty flexible, so if you left it 35 or 40, it's not going to be a big deal. It won't hurt anything. So the first thing you're going to do, I guess, is put your gloves back on because the dye will dye your fingers. So we're going to get a tub or over your sink. We're going to take out the material from there. All right, let a little bit of the dye dribble out, and then carefully wring it out. Put it in some clean water, give it a little rinse. A light rinse, take it back out carefully so you don't get dye everywhere. Bring it out again. And you can have a quick look at it and see how it looks. It's always a nice reveal. Ooh. So, all right. Now before it's good to go though, we need to soak it in a dye fixative called raycafix. So we are going to add that to the kit. So what you need to do is add the raycafix. There'll be a teaspoon in your kit. So you're going to add that. You're going to get that ready. You're going to put your material into the water, add the raycafix, wash it around gently, and then we're going to leave it there for 5 minutes. Okay, here's the 5-minute reveal. You're going to take out your piece of material that's been soaked in the raycafix and just gently bring it out. And if you've been wondering what to do with all the plastic bags that you've been collecting over the last little while, this is a perfect use or reuse. So you want to take your cloth and fold it up, doesn't really matter how, and then stick it in a bag that preferably has no holes in the bottom, and wrap it up and put it somewhere to rest overnight, and then in the morning you can take it out and dry it, and then rinse it. Well, actually before you dry it, rinse it again, and then you can dry it and then iron it. Now you want to remember that sometimes the dye will bleed out, so you want to be careful what you wash your dye treated fabric with. You want to put it with light colors, and after a few laundries it should be just fine, and the dye is pretty permanent. So I hope you enjoy your project, and we look forward to having you back here again. Please put photos of your completed project on our NorVA Facebook page, and we'd love to see what kind of beautiful, beautiful items you make. So see you later, everybody, and have a good night.